Audiobook Club with Steve Phillips and Matthew Layton.
On this episode of Audiobook Club, isn't sleep weird?
Imagine the birth of your first child. At the hospital, the doctor enters the room and says, "Congratulations, it's a healthy baby boy. We've completed all of the preliminary tests and everything looks good." She smiles reassuringly and starts walking toward the door. However, before exiting the room, she turns around and says, "There is just one thing. From this moment forth, and for the rest of your child's entire life, he will repeatedly and routinely lapse into a state of apparent coma. It might even resemble death at times. And while his body lies still, his mind will often be filled with stunning, bizarre hallucinations. This state will consume 1/3 of his life, and I have absolutely no idea why he'll do it or what it is for. Good luck."
Hello and welcome to Audiobook Club, the podcast about audiobooks that is very much in tune with its circadian rhythms. Joining me, as ever, on this dreamlike voyage of slumber is Matt Layton, as ever. Hey Matt, you all right?
I'm very well, Steve. Bit knackered, but you know.
You're a bit knackered. Yeah, I'm knackered. I'm just not getting enough sleep.
Part of the course.
That's what it is. Yeah, part of the course, which is why we were talking about this book this week, hey?
Smooth, like it. This week we are talking about sleep in general. The book we're reading is Why We Sleep, The New Science of Sleep and Dreams, written by Professor Matthew Walker. But we're doing it because, well, the first thing is, normally we either listen to a story or we learn about some history or somebody's life. And I had a moment about 10 years ago where I was listening to an audiobook and it changed my life and rebooted my brain. And it wasn't this one, but I've always had trouble with sleep. And I asked you, I said, "Steve, how are you with sleep before you embarked on this journey of slumber?" And you were a bit middle of the road about it, really, Steve. I didn't get enough of a response. I was slightly worried that we weren't going to be able to get half an hour out of this topic.
Yeah. I probably dropped off halfway through your sentence. No, it was...
I think we've got to get a jar. For every time one of us goes like that, or we should have a swear jar for that, for this entire episode, because that's too easy.
Blakey impressions.
Wasn't what it was meant to be. But yeah, no. So sleep's always been a problem for me, and I listened to this book and it changed my life. And I thought, well, but I'm not normal. And I said to you, "Have you ever looked into this?" And then you had listened to this book, and
yes,
yeah. How was it? How was it for you, dear?
Well, I made a mistake. So you obviously put us onto this book from the previous week, and when I downloaded it, and one night last week, I couldn't sleep. I woke up at 3 a.m, just could not get back off to sleep. So I just thought, I'll start listening to the audiobook that we're talking about in this episode. So that's what I did, expecting it to help me go to sleep. And the opening lines are basically saying, if you don't get enough sleep, you will die. I couldn't get back to sleep off the back of that. I was just stressing about not getting enough sleep, and you and I have both done overnight shifts, or we both had to do early shifts. And if you wake up too early, you're wondering if you're going to get to sleep again, and then if you're going to oversleep through your alarm. It was that kind of stress again, caused by this book.
Which is ironic in itself. So the experience I had with the sentence that changed my mind, or rebooted my mind about a decade ago, would have allowed you to get back to sleep, funnily enough. It would have fixed you. And I haven't played you this before.
Oh, okay.
This, and I wasn't sure if it was a mainstream thing or what. I was wondering if you would think I was a nutter for wanting to talk about sleep. But yeah, I think this clip from Richard Wiseman's book, Night School, Wake Up to the Power of Sleep, kind of sorted a lot of that out for me.
Don't worry. Be happy. Perhaps not surprisingly, spending the night feeling as if you are unable to sleep makes many people feel anxious. Over the course of a night, this anxiety disrupts their sleep even more, creating a vicious downward cycle. If you do find yourself lying in bed becoming anxious because you think you aren't getting enough sleep, Here are some tips. Remember that you're probably getting more sleep than you think.
And that's the thing. So I'd had insomnia for years. I still do. It contributed to a mental health thing. And in fact, that's discussed in this book as well, how a lack of sleep can exacerbate mental health disorders, and mental health disorders can exacerbate loss of sleep. And just that book, which I listened to about the age of 40, and I just went, oh, right, okay, so I'm lying here worrying. If I stop worrying, then it'll all be better. And to be honest, it was nice to dive back into that world again, because it was only the only time I've listened to a book on sleep. And unfortunately, though, that book, Night School, Wake Up to the Power of Sleep by Richard Wiseman, is no longer in print. I can access it in my Audible library. I tried to send it to you as a gift yesterday. Did that work?
No, I didn't get it.
Sorry.
Didn't get it.
And yeah, you can't.
Out of audio.
Yeah, it's basically out of audio print, or whatever that's called. So I wanted you to read that, and what I did instead was jump on Audible, find the most popular book on the topic, and I actually said an academic approach to it. And we came here. Before we get into the specifics of the book we're meant to be reviewing and the book that we can't review, what was it like for you encountering sleep as the subject of a book for the first time?
Well, I'm finding it incredibly useful, actually, because I'm the same as you. I have real difficulty, sleeping. You can't seem to turn your brain off, and to have something that is, and actually that clip that you just played me, which I hadn't heard before, just really kind of took me back to that described exactly what I just described to you about that spiral of anxiety.
Yeah.
I was. You played that one tip. He did say tips, didn't he? I just heard the one there, and I had paper and pen ready to write down the rest of them. So you have to send that to me. But really, this is it's fantastic. I think we need these things. There are all kinds of things out there, particularly if there's ASMR videos on YouTube specifically to help you get to sleep. There's all kinds of things now that are there to help you relax in what is an ever more stressful world. And all to the good, basically, because as I discovered in those first opening chapter of Why We Sleep, the consequences of you not getting a good night's sleep are far-reaching. It's the most. It didn't really hit home to me until I heard that first chapter. How sleep is the most important thing after eating and drinking.
And again, how long have we known each other? The answer is 25 odd years, bit more, quarter of a century. And that was the first time I had ever asked you that question a couple of weeks ago. And you didn't really have an answer because it wasn't a topic of conversation that one has generally.
No, absolutely not.
And as the clip at the beginning says, it's a third of your life. And it's a bit bloody weird if you have a look at it. And it's just... As someone who's always struggled with sleep, to know that there are people studying it, that they find it quite hard, and it has been a mystery for quite a long while, and no one's quite sure what's going on still, I find that quite useful to know, a problem shared, that type of thing. I'll tell you what, there's a great bit. I'm going to do the usual thing of getting you to read the blurb. And we're going to do our patent pending 3-step, I'm changing that to our unpatentable 3-step audiobook review process. We'll talk about the author, we'll talk about the text, and then we'll talk about the audiobook production and performance, and is it any good and does it help? So I'm going to do the author first, and then I'm going to throw to you to read the blurb off the back of the book so that we can get the scale of the problem and your fears. Matthew Walker is a British author, scientist, and professor of neuroscience and psychology at the University of California, Berkeley. And don't we know it by the time he's told us about 15 times. As an academic, Walker's focused on the impact of sleep and human health. He has contributed to many science research studies. Why We Sleep from 2017 is his first work of popular science. And again, clearly he's written his own Wikipedia page about 7 years ago because he hasn't written anything since. And I would suggest that maybe that's not what he should be focusing on. But we'll get to that when we review the book, which is easy to do if the golden part of this, the magic hour of this podcast is when Steve reads the blurb from the back of the audiobook, if audiobooks can indeed have a back. Take it away, please, Steve.
Sleep is one of the most important aspects of our life, health and longevity, and yet it is increasingly neglected in 21st century society with devastating consequences. Every major disease in the developed world, Alzheimer's, cancer, obesity, diabetes, have very strong causal links to deficient sleep. Until very recently, science had no answer to the question of why we sleep, or what good it served, or why its absence is so damaging to our health. Compared to the other basic drives in life, eating, drinking, and reproducing, the purpose of sleep remained elusive. Now, in this audiobook, the first of its kind, written by a scientific expert, Professor Matthew Walker explores 20 years of cutting-edge research to solve the mystery of why sleep matters. Looking at creatures from across the animal kingdom as well as major human studies, Why We Sleep delves into everything from what really happens during REM sleep to how caffeine and alcohol affect sleep and why our sleep patterns change across a lifetime, transforming our appreciation of the extraordinary phenomenon that safeguards our existence.
Nicely done. I'm very much awake. I'm not going to do the
Stressing me out. I'll tell you what, since we decided to do this book, since I read that first chapter of this book, I am absolutely steadfast. Right, it's 10 o'clock, bed. That's it. Done. Otherwise, I'm going to get Alzheimer's or cancer, obesity, or diabetes, possibly all four. Yeah.
Do you know what? That's part of my problem with this book. And
dear BBC, can you please put book at bedtime on at 10:15 rather than 11:15, just to save my health?
Yeah, it's called BBC Sounds, mate. But never mind. Yeah, it does that. You can
dear
play
points of view. Dear Barry Took. Yeah.
Look, this is, funnily enough, so what we normally do at this point is have a little bit of chat about the subject matter of the book. It's interesting. It does sound like one of those American medication adverts that end with may cause serious side effects like dizziness, tingly arms, or death. It really...
I'm getting tingly fingers. Is that a good thing?
No, that's not a good thing. But again, as he keeps saying all the way through this, consult a medical professional. The problem I had with this book is it lays out all the problems and how you're going to get Alzheimer's and cancer. And as you said, it doesn't actually provide you with any solutions. So at various points he goes, and if you're suffering from this problem, then go to this website or look at this graph on the PDF. Figure 14 on the PDF. I don't look at PDFs when I'm listening to audiobooks. Perhaps this book was too academic and a bit cold. And he said, we've got theories. My colleagues cured lots of this, but my job is basically to study it. And yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I know it was a new and radical topic for you to listen to, and it had an effect on you. But I'm sort of at the point where I'm going, yeah, I just wish we could have read the better one.
It left me worried.
Yeah, well, okay.
It's turned me into a hypochondriac. I'm like Doc Cotton, basically. She was always a hypochondriac. That's me now.
Keeping it real for the international audience, Blakey, points of view. Doc Cotton.
How do you know EastEnders plays on PBS in America
Footnote.
with subtitles?
Oh, that's what this book does that irritates me as well as directing you to a PDF. I'm on a bus. I've got 2 bags of shopping with me. I can't look at your PDF. Use your words, professor, so-called professor. So yeah, you think you can tell this has wound me up. Clip 3, which is the one where we normally transition from talking about the subject of the book, into the audiobook, and does it help? I've called clip 3 Pompous Ass.
I was once fond of saying, sleep is the third pillar of good health, alongside diet and exercise. I've changed my tune. Sleep is more than a pillar. It is the foundation on which the other two health bastions sit. Take away the bedrock of sleep, or weaken it just a little, and careful eating or physical exercise become less than effective, as we shall see.
Okay, so the first thing about that is the incredibly lazy device of "I used to say, but now it was number 3, but now I say it's number 1." The voice artist, whose name is, scroll up, Matthew, John Sackville, fine, competent delivery. There are occasional bits where he gets to do an accent, but unfortunately, to do this, he's got to read it in the voice of an irritating, pompous professor who wants to keep reminding us that he's a professor. Well, for the last 20 years, as a professor at the University of Berkeley, California, where I went after Harvard. He doesn't mention Newcastle, which is where he did most of his undergraduate stuff for some reason.
Is that along the same lines as speaking as a father?
Yeah. And also I got another example of my least favourite one woke me up in the morning last Thursday. Here, let me play you this. But my least favourite lazy device of oratory is the following.
It is time now, though, for Thought for the Day at 14 minutes to 8. The speaker this morning is Jane Manfredi, writer and Anglican deacon.
Good morning. Do you know what you stand for? The story of two men who vandalised a Paddington Bear statue in Newbury has made me ponder this question. The statue was destroyed by the men during a drunken night out, which was captured on CCTV. The pair were told by a judge their actions were the antithesis of everything the bear stands for. Paddington Bear has become a much-loved cultural icon. He represents kindness, tolerance, and promotes integration and acceptance in our society, the judge said. Which makes me want to ask, do you know who else stood for kindness, compassion, and care of the stranger? That's right, Jesus.
He also did pretty well. He didn't do it for marmalade sales, though, did he?
Compassion and care of the stranger.
No, or indeed wine sales. Yeah. Sorry, that just got my goat. That was a total sidebar. I apologise for taking us off course. But if you compare... So basically, the author of this one has got my goat, partly because he wasn't helping.
Is it sort of a narrative trope where they build things up, then name the thing they've just spoken about? Because that's what you have these days with what you've just played there.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, he was just a humble tea boy, but then through singing through the working man's clubs, he grew up to be a star. That man was Frank Sinatra. Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and again, it's a bit cheesy. And but okay, here's the thing. On a topic this personal and this new and this important, I don't really want to, look up to somebody on high who is telling me all the problems and not providing me with the solutions. I would really, really like at some point to see if we can get Richard Wiseman's Night School republished and then let you have a listen to it and see if it helps you get to sleep. Because as I say, I think I said, I wanted an academic approach to it. I realise now that I'm not really capable of tolerating academia for that long. And many of the stories were the same in both of the books. There's one story where in the 1930s, some sleep scientists went into a cave in Kentucky and spent 5 weeks down there with absolutely no access to daylight. And it turned out that their bodies both went into a rhythm that was 24 hours and 15 minutes long. So the natural human internal body clock, if deprived of daylight, it's slightly longer than a 24-hour day. So we're overwound slightly, which I think is really interesting. But the difference between the current book that we're reading, Why We Sleep, and Night School is that there was humour that was funny, and also it contributed. The anecdote contributed to the solution, to illustrating. Yeah, what's missing from this book is this is how sleep works. This is science. This is what we say at University of Berkeley, California. But what it doesn't say is, and here's something you can do about it. As you reacted earlier on, you had your pen out, waiting. I tell you what I'm going to do.
Not these euphemisms.
Well, that's one way to sleep. What I'm going to do is at the end of the podcast, I'll sit there and put something that helps at the end. Interestingly, today it's the day after the clocks went forward in the Northern Hemisphere, and because he can't, leave it alone, Professor Matthew said that apparently if you check the hospital records, even with 1 hour less sleep when the clocks go forward, there is a substantial spike in heart attacks on the Sunday that we've just had. So when you get just 1 hour's less sleep. Did he have a solution? No. This
is the thing, is this is what we're saying, basically.
So I'm sorry for frightening you, really, Steve. I didn't mean to. I thought you were going to get a rounded journey of the problem and the solution, but we just seem to get... He doesn't seem to... He keeps saying, I'm not a sleep doctor, I'm a sleep scientist. It's not my job to cure it. Well...
Yeah, well, maybe so jointly write the book with someone whose job it is.
Somebody nice. Somebody nice.
Yeah. Can you do it with someone nice, like Francis Wilson off The Weather or something, or Des Lynam?
Good.
Someone reassuring, because actually, that particular night, I was hoping in that one chapter when he said, yes, basically, if you don't get enough sleep, it causes obesity, ultimately death. But don't worry, you can do something about it. That sentence did not appear.
No, it didn't. It didn't. And in the other book, it does. And yeah, it's all. What is it? Most adults in the developing world, since the invention of the light bulb, we've been going to bed when it gets dark for hundreds of thousands of years, and it's only in the last 150 that we've been kept awake all night by first light bulbs and then computer screens. Sleep hygiene's important, Steve. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a little course. Sleep hygiene is important. Don't do anything exciting after 9 o'clock. If you can put your phone and your iPad down at that point, that would be good, because blue light is like sunlight and tries to fool your brain that you're awake. Make sure that your bedroom is at a temperature that you're comfortable with. The reckoning is about 18 degrees C is the best. Make sure it's entirely dark. Don't do anything in your bedroom apart from sleeping and bonking.
You really brought down the tone here.
No, I haven't. But this is
exciting after 9 o'clock. Oh, apart from bonking.
No. You could.
Oh.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. By the way, here's one. Again, I listened. I can't remember which book it was, but it pointed out that some people are owls and some people are larks. I was able to relate to that. So some people like to get up in the morning. Some people like to stay up late at night. I'm a late night bird. It's unfortunate when then you. The whole idea of sleeping with someone else in your bed as well. If you can avoid that, it's a very good idea.
So this book is a single contributor to divorce as well, I imagine.
Well, exactly. So there's one stat in the good book, the night school book, that says 60% of new American homes are built with 2 master bedrooms, so that both parties can have a good night's sleep. You have a hug, and then pop off to the gentleman bedroom.
Yeah.
So there's also look. Yeah. As I say, I have had to learn about this stuff for medical reasons. It's a really serious thing for me. I barely take any psychiatric drugs anymore, but I still take something to help me sleep every day. And I'm part of the bottom 1%, but I do my best to to set everything up. It was actually really nice to have a refresher. And if I don't get enough sleep, then I'm very quickly. I did some time in a mental hospital in my mid-30s before I realised any of this, and as I say, it's a vicious circle. It's the lack of sleep caused me mental health problems, and then the mental health problems didn't help my sleep. So it's something I genuinely have to watch. I know that we all fear the bit where we open our eyes and there's a member of our family with their name on a post-it note on their forehead because we've forgotten who everybody is. And, there's solid evidence that a lack of sleep will bring on Alzheimer's. I don't think people take it seriously. It's not something, to be honest, my pub chat's not great anyway, but just occasionally, as I say, I've known you a quarter of a century and you don't know that about me. I guess because it's, something we keep private. And I certainly didn't. You were always brighter and shinier than I was when we had to start work at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I just assumed you didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, that was Pro Plus, mate.
Our
old friend Pro Plus, which has probably not done a great amount for our sleep health, I imagine.
No caffeine afternoon, basically. Half-life of caffeine is something like 5 hours, which means you've still got half the caffeine buzzing around in your system at noon. Bath late at night. Light carbohydrate meal, bowl of cereal about this time of night is one of the things you can do. It's something that I've studied a lot, and as with most things in my life, my obsessive compulsive disorder is always in constant conflict with my laziness. So I don't necessarily always get everything done in the right order. And as I say, it was very nice for me to have a refresher. It was also very nice to be able to talk to you about it, both off air and on air, because it was like, oh, great. Okay, so I'm not totally mad. This is quite a big and important and interesting subject and something we should all try and do something about. Is that fair?
I know completely. And and thank you for sharing that, by the way, because it does, our frivolity belies a really serious note here, is that sleep does seriously impact your mental health, your physical health. And actually, you can do everyone a little bit of a favor here, because this book, obviously, if you do read it, is a study, but it isn't giving you help. So maybe those tips that you just read out there, I've written down one because I'm a slow writer. Maybe pop them in the show notes.
I didn't read them out.
No caffeine afternoon.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I don't. These are just things that, because of lying awake nights thinking about them, that I've had to take on board. So
it makes it even more personal. Then these are our pieces of advice.
These are
at the bottom or whatever, saying that this is just our idea.
Please consult your physician. May lead to drowsiness or death. Oh no, drowsiness is what we want, isn't it? Side effects may lead to drowsiness. It's
very difficult to achieve that the other way around. Death followed by drowsiness.
Well,
yeah,
bit of a dead end that. Conversationally speaking.
Good. Yeah, very good. Well, and indeed, literally speaking, I suppose.
Can we go now?
Yes, let's wrap her up. So, so our verdict on this, by the way, what are we saying? Performance versus narration for John Sackville's performance of the audiobook. Yeah?
John Sackville is a perfectly competent narrator because of the nature of the text. There's kind of like some powerful force with the pompousness of the author and the narrator having to read it in that particular voice really got my goat.
Do you remember that bit in the first chapter where he says, this book, I really don't mind if you fall asleep too, that's kind of the aim. But frankly, I found with this narration, you don't ever hear this narration connected with any kind of guided meditation to help you sleep,
No, but there is also a bit where I was thinking, now, hold on, does that mean that the voice artist is trying to read it in a way where it could be multi-purposed? And I think there's a little bit of that towards the beginning, that not only is he reading the academic tome, he's trying to read it in a way that would not wake you up or you could drift off to. And it's too much of a compromise and trying to do too many things at once. I just have to say, though, I'm going to play you this clip from Night School again. partly because we need to end on a positive note. But actor Damian Lewis, are you familiar with him?
Yeah.
Homeland.
Yeah. Wolf Hall.
Billions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a listen to this.
Don't worry. Be happy. Perhaps not surprisingly, spending the night feeling as if you are unable to sleep makes many people feel anxious. Over the course of a night, this anxiety disrupts their sleep even more, creating a vicious downward cycle. If you do find yourself lying in bed becoming anxious because you think you aren't getting enough sleep, here are some tips. Remember that you're probably getting more sleep than you think.
Is it just me? Can you hear it too?
Yeah. What, the clip you just played?
Does it sound like Damian Lewis?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it doesn't. He sounds... no, he's. I think Damian Lewis is a little bit more not husky, maybe?
But he does
Damian
that
Lewis?
intonation thing. No, it's not Damian. No, it's somebody called Peter Noble. I actually remember doing at the time, doing some research going. But I just see his twisty little mouth. You know, people who... I hate to be too judgy, but you just know you're not going to get on with. You can do all the acting you like, mate, but I can see what's underneath.
Yeah, I kind of picked up, dude, when you just said, I can just see his twisty little mouth. Yeah. Spouting off nonsense.
Yeah. Oh, did you go to the Stephen Mangan Academy of Acting, did you? Right, well done.
Oh, I like him.
I know you do.
Yeah, I know. Oh, well, at least we found it's good to have the conflict in this podcast.
Yeah, there's the conflict.
Dynamic up, doesn't it? Yeah, there's the dynamic right there.
Yeah.
Well, then, we'll finally wrap up once again. So, yes, Why We Sleep, The New Science of Sleep and Dreams by Matthew Walker, narrated by John Sackville, came out a fair few years ago now, 2017, in at 13 hours and 31 minutes from Penguin Audio, and is still available from Audible. Next week, if it's not the end of our world through lack of sleep, it could be the end of the whole world, because we will be giving our look at the latest in the Brief Histories series. This is a brief history of the end of the... there's going to be a lot of bleeping.
Hold on, stop. I'll do it. A brief history of the end of the fucking world. There you go.
Written by Tom Phillips, narrated by the same. It's out just at the end of February, 12 hours and 39 minutes, published by Wildfire. Tom Phillips, by the way, will be with us when we put this podcast out. So we're going to have a chat with him about his book and his series of books, because one question we will put to Tom is the inspiration for all his sweary titles, such as A Brief History of How We... effed it all up. I'm so BBC, I can't do it.
I know, it's so wonderful.
There's Truth, A Brief History of Total B shit.
No, you said shit now. You said shit in front of a microphone. You're sacked. You'll never work in this town again.
I just literally bleeped out the word ball.
It also shows what a decent human being you are.
It just reminds me of the Dave Allen line when he talks about how Americans swear constantly all the time as a matter of their conversation, to the point where they'll be walking in the park and they'll tread on some dog mess and they'll go, "Oh shit, I trod on some doggy doo doo."
Yeah, you bleeped the wrong thing, basically. But exactly. It's one of the most wonderful things about you as a professional and a human is your innate inability to swear into a microphone. I wonder who beat it out of you. Was it Adrian Smith?
No, it's just a general sort of, my goodness, I'm working for the BBC. Where's my dicky bow? Basically, you would never hear, John Snag or John Arlott. Just effing and jeffing over every commentary they ever made.
Hey, hold on, before we leave this totally, that was something I wanted to talk to you about. I think you and I are both the kids who, rather than reading a book with a torch under the blankets, used to listen to the radio when we went to sleep. That was you as well, wasn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Caesar the Boogeyman or Invictus FM.
I
was more Robbie Vincent, Bob Harris, Mike Allen on LBC.
International audience.
But the man who never gets remembered, an absolute legend, and basically wrote most of my script for the rest of my life for me, is no longer with us. Dave Barrett. He was on the BBC local radio. I think he worked for something weird like BBC Wiltshire, and he was just in the middle of the night. You could find him when everybody else had left all the radio stations.
Now there's a book waiting to be written. Those legends of the nighttime radio, and the gems that people just don't remember quite so much as the obvious ones that come out.
Rod Sharp, and We're Up All Night. I remember when I was doing Talk Sport with Martin Kellner overnights from Australia in the morning. Oh God, I'm sounding like such an idiot. I said we had a particularly sticky moment. We got interrupted by some live cricket and we talked absolute rubbish. And I just said to him, "Well, there goes my ambition of being the Norwegian fisherman to your Clive Bull." And only you will get that joke. You think you can alienate an audience? You look what I can do. That's so in.
Swung in there. Peter Cook was international, dude. He was in Supergirl the movie, and all kinds of other
the new
stuff,
one. It's coming out soon.
That'll be a tall order. Anyway, that's us. That's us for this week. But we will be joined by Tom Phillips, the author and reader and performer of A Brief History of the End of the World, which came out at the end of February. So look forward to talking to Tom. Dude, I'm going to look forward to talking to you in a very short while on this book. So don't forget, if on the socials, we are Blue Sky at Audiobook Show, Instagram, the same name as well. The hashtag is Audiobook Club. Let us know what you're reading and what we should be reading. Give us your thoughts on any sleep books that you've read or indeed dropped off to. And if you've read any Tom Phillips as well, it'd be great to have.
Also, if you have an idea how we can get hold of Night School by Richard Wiseman, that would be ace as well. Because again, I apologise for the bumpy introduction to this subject matter, Steve, and don't worry, everything is fixable.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, by the way, I was going to stick my regular Tom Baker request in there for his autobiography. If anyone's got that on audio, that would be fantastic as well. In the meantime, by the way, thank you to Claire, who joined us on our Audiobook Club podcast. We started to do, we piloted the Audiobook Club, where we invite you, our dear listener, to come on and eulogise about a book that you'd like to read. And Claire joined us to talk about James by Percival Everett, which sounds like an amazing book. Go get that one as well. Anyway, we've rattled on for long enough. It's time to go to the next podcast.
Hold on. Are you saying come and have a go if you think you're hard enough? Sorry, inviting our listeners to come and play with us.
You're totally doing the next one. I'd like to say I want you to go toe to toe with a member of the public and see how you get on.
I don't do the public, Phillips. You know this.
Anyway, we'll see you soon.
Why? I'm sorry, I thought about the public. Can I have my hand sanitizer? I've thought about the public.
That's it, connecting with the audience.
Audiobook Club with Steve Phillips and Matthew Layton.